Hello, I'm Usha Pandit and I'm delighted to be here talking to you about my happiness in coming to the Udemy platform and putting up my first Shakespeare video called Capturing Caesar. I did a workshop on Caesar some months back and did it mainly because in India the ICSE board has the 10th literature examinations with Caesar as syllabus. Shakespeare is one of my absolute favorites. So I was very happy to help teachers. I am a teacher of 40 years. I have written 40 textbooks. I am a curriculum expert, a school consultant, a YouTuber, a public speaker, gifted education, disadvantaged education, international schools. I have done it all. Shakespeare, the credit for my love and my ability to bring Shakespeare alive goes to British Hong Kong, where I did the senior school who had Othello as their Shakespearean text, and that is where I found the magic. I found that it is, the first thing to remember is that Shakespeare did not write his plays for you to sit at a desk and study it for an exam. He wrote it to be enacted. The reading of Shakespeare needs to be emotive, needs to be passionate, needs to have the kind of nuances of and shades of feelings. Otherwise, it runs flat. Now, most of us are dogged by the sheer complexity, the difficulty levels of archaic English that Shakespeare seems to be writing, and children, of course, are completely switched off in places like India. So it was not just a big challenge, but it was indeed a very satisfying endeavor to get teachers to think about how Shakespeare can be made fun. Shakespeare can be made into a subject that will motivate children, that will empower them, and the aspects of Shakespeare then that will remain with them all their lives. So I am especially biased when it comes to teaching Shakespeare. The workshop was a huge success, and I have therefore put up the course on Udemy so that it has more footfalls and many more people are able to take advantage of teaching Julius Caesar. One of the biggest aspects of Shakespeare's popularity, Shakespeare's survival after 400 or 500 years is that he is contemporary. In the current situations and I dare say in the future, the situations in human lives are not going to change. Our emotional content is steady. It's always going to be in a permanent state where our emotions of anger, lust, fear, etc. will rule us. Our responses to those are also likely to be the same. So when you read Shakespeare, what strikes you is how recent this is. So Julius Caesar appears to be any country where you can pull up a politician and look at him and look at the circumstances in his leadership and in his competition and find parallels to Julius Caesar. Until we tap into those parallels and make that play current, not from the Roman period, not from the Shakespearean period, but get it to touch our own periods, that magic will not come through in the classroom. And how we do that is the big question. So that's what I've done in the course, and it's a treat. So you have a lot of amazing themes that run in the plays, and if you don't do those themes and you don't acquaint students with those ideas, then all is lost again. So in this particular one, we've got the themes of power and ambition, honor, destiny, death, ideologies, manipulation, freedom, superstition, the works. And each of those is in itself a massive lesson. We will have to control ourselves in order to not get lost in some of these large themes that are coming up for discussion. And then to go back and look at how Shakespeare has not just treated these themes, but how he has brought them together and how he has woven them together in a story that is history. It's real. The other thing that you find is Romans, political Rome, socio-economic Rome, Rome being the seat where seeds of democracy were sown then, and the kind of challenges that they had, the sort of painful transition from kingship to democracy was not easy. And then there is this whole urge to be dictatorial. There is an urge to be a vassal and a slave and to treat the new democratic leader as king. Are we still doing that? Is the big question. And that is, I think, what excites children when they realize that it's still happening. And they can't believe that after so many years, 2000 years perhaps, we are still doing it. So somehow you can have discussions on democracy, and you can have discussions on the flaws of systems. And then you come to the characters of Shakespeare. And that is a super treat. The complexity is not in the plot. The plots are ordinary. It's the characters that absolutely stun you. The kind of binaries and paradoxes and the sort of evolution that happens in these characters. Where else would you find a man who is dead in 2 acts dominating the play till the end of the play and after his death? So the presence of Julius Caesar is absolutely omnipresent in terms of the kind of power he wields over all the other people and the events that ensue. Where else would you find a murderer, a person like Brutus, who is called the noblest Roman of them all by the very enemy who despised him for the deed of killing Caesar? It's a kind of evolution of character that is absolutely brilliant. If these passions and these insights are not brought to children, of course they will not be motivated. Besides all this, I have summarized the acts, I have given you the figures of speech, I have talked to you about the famous lines, I have made sociograms, we are unfolding evolution of characters like I told you, the prosody, the iambic and the pentameter and the blank verse, the life links. So the works, and then you have examination questions, and you have examination preparation, and you have classroom tasks and strategies aplenty. So you will never be short of tasks to give children that are absolutely exciting, including the language. How do you make archaic language familiar to children in a way that is fun? So, for all these reasons, it would be a great idea for you to come and do this course, participate in the kind of discussions that have taken place within the course itself, and get your understanding of Shakespeare even better. Or perhaps now, if you're a new teacher, actually know the right way to do Shakespeare without getting lost in the complexities, without overdoing it, making it boring, creating terrible studies, and then ending up in children not liking the bard, which is a huge tragedy because the bard speaks for us. Today, in every situation, if you quote Shakespeare, he seems to be saying it better than you can ever do. So, I'm hoping to see all of you doing that course and making this world a richer place because you have the knowledge and you have the wisdom. Thank you.